Welcome to Homeschooling and Life Unfiltered with Court and Jess, where real talk meets real life. Court and Jess are two friends, fellow moms, and business partners who live in different time zones and juggle homeschooling alongside motherhood and entrepreneurship. Jess is a mom of 8 and Court is a mom of 7, and together they're raising 15 kids and navigating the wild, wonderful world of homeschooling, each in completely different ways. Every week, we invite you to pull up a chair for honest conversations, practical tips, and uplifting encouragement. You'll hear from moms across the country who are homeschooling in a way that works best for their families. Whether you're a veteran homeschool mom just getting started or somewhere in between, this is your space to feel seen, supported, and inspired. Because no matter how different our paths may look, we are all in this together. Welcome to the very first episode of Homeschooling and Life Unfiltered with Court and Jess. I'm Court. Come along with us as we interview each other in this part 1 of 2 episodes and get to know us. We're so glad you're here.
First question.
How long have you been homeschooling, and what grades or ages are your children? And have you graduated any homeschoolers?
All right. Yeah, I can start. So I have been homeschooling since my oldest, who is now 22, was in 3rd grade. So I don't know how many years that is. It's a long time. And right now I am homeschooling. I have one son who we've tried homeschooling. He has some really significant special needs. And so we didn't homeschool him the whole way through, only just for a little portion. So anyways, but let me start at the top of the list. So we have Alexis, who's 22. She is, like I said, she homeschooled from the time she was in 3rd grade all the way through. She did some college courses in there, but otherwise homeschooled all the way through. And then she went to a local university. It was a local Christian college here in Mankato, Minnesota, and lived in the dorms there and did that. And then went on a mission for 18 months in Brazil, and is now out at BYU Provo studying anthropology with a minor in museum studies, I think is where she's at right now at the moment. I have 2 18-year-old sons. One who I just mentioned has a lot of significant special needs, and he is going to be doing the adult program through the local high school. So he'll be in high school for a couple more years. And then we have a son, Maddox, and that was Isaiah. And then our son, Maddox, is also 18. And he is just graduating from our homeschool. So he has homeschooled since kindergarten all the way through. And he is headed out on a mission also to Brazil, then plans on joining the Marines, and then we'll be pursuing a career in law enforcement after that. We are a law enforcement family, a lot of law enforcement in our family. So a brother, a sister, an uncle, so lots of that running through our veins. And then we have our son, Chase, who is 16. And we're asking for grades too. That's always hard as a homeschooling mom. 16, he is in 10th grade. Maddox also did some college classes, a year of college classes as well. Chase is in 10th grade. And then we have Mia and Corey, who are 10 months apart, and they are both going into 8th grade. And then we have Hannah, who is going into 5th grade. We just finished up the year. And then we have a bit of an age gap, 10 years. And then we have our little baby Kinsley, who is 5 months old.
Love it. Okay, so this is the perfect example of how we can be so alike in so many ways and so different in some ways, because you answered that question in way more detail than I would have answered it. So I'm going to try to follow suit, because my answer is like a 3-second little spiel. So I have 7 kiddos. My oldest is 22. My youngest is 10. My oldest 3, I've graduated out of high school. My kids never went to public school. We've always homeschooled. I was a brick and mortar teacher like a bajillion years ago, and then I taught kindergarten in a public school. And by the time Sydney got to kindergarten was the year in Arizona they mandated all-day kindergarten, and I was like, oh, I taught all-day kindergarten. All-day kindergarten is babysitting after 1 o'clock, and so I was like, I didn't want to do it. And so I was like, well, I already have all this kindergarten stuff. Let's just try it and see what happens. And we never really looked back. So I think I've been homeschooled. I think we figured out it's 18 years and it's 19 if we count preschool because I homeschooled preschool too. We did a little.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, I homeschooled preschool because I taught preschool before I taught elementary school. So I actually had people come into my home and we did preschool. I taught lots of kids preschool for many years. So my kids have never done brick and mortar like a traditional school, but all of my high schoolers, when they're juniors, seniors, we have a tech high school that my kids participate in. So they all choose something to do. So my oldest graduated with cosmetology and now runs a very successful hair salon business. She has a suite at a hair salon. My next one, Kennedy's in nursing school, and she has 1 year left of nursing school. So we see her at meals. It's a good thing I cook. Otherwise, we probably would never see Kennedy because she just works and goes to school and studies all day long. My third one.
Right? Kennedy's still in high school.
No, she's a year of college. Oh, yeah. The oldest three have graduated high school.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. So Kennedy is 20 and she has a year of college. So she'll have her bachelor's degree next May. Awesome. And then Delaney just graduated last year. So in 2024. So she's been out of school for about a year. She is a nanny and has a nail business. She does nails, and she actually is doing an internship. She just found out, I don't know if I told you this yet, but she got an internship in Utah to get certified in all the nails. So she has a like kind of a nail design. She does gel nails, like designs, like super cute, artistic. She's very creative. And so she's actually going to get her certification in like all nails, like all the things. So she'll be gone from September to December. Yeah.
Oh, sad. Does she? Well,
that would be weird.
Her and Lexi can.
Yeah,
is she going to be in the Provo area?
I think so. She's in Pleasant Grove is where the internship itself is.
Okay. So she'll be.
But she's kind of looking in that whole, I mean, they're all 20 minutes apart, I think, something. They're not really far. So she'll be there this fall. So that's the first time we've ever really had any. I mean, my oldest is married. I don't think I missed that. She's the one that's having the baby. She's been married. She's celebrated her second anniversary last week or recently. Time's all relative. Anyway, so that's the oldest three. I have one. My next daughter will be a senior next year. Audrey will be a senior. She's going to culinary baking school at that tech high school thing that I was talking about. Rory will be a freshman this year. Another one going to freshman. And then I have Grady. My only one. Oh, 7 girls, 1 boy, guys. Only 1 boy. My 1 boy is next to last. He will be a 7th grader. He's 12, and then my baby was the same age as Jessica's baby until she had another one. Macy is 10, right? Yeah, she's 10. She'll be 11 at the end of the summer. So we've always homeschooled, graduated 3. I think that is all the things. Jessica, I think we should add that you also have some adopted kids. So like,
yes,
your kids that are 10 months apart, or one of them's adopted.
Yeah, so it was super interesting. We have and I'll have to share that story on another podcast, but really interesting journey on how we got to adoption. Really, really crazy roller coaster. But my husband's adopted, so that's kind of what like set our heart on adoption before we even knew that we were going to have problems having kiddos. And then so we have a son, Isaiah, who is 3 months younger than my son Maddox, so they're really close in age. And then Mia, who and we got Isaiah as a little bit of an older kiddo, and then but still young. And then we got Mia as a 3-day-old straight from the hospital baby, and she's 10 months older than my Corey. So yeah,
so you that's got her, and then found out you were pregnant like 5 seconds later.
100%, yes.
Gosh,
yeah,
crazy.
Yep. So it was crazy. And Mia is a very small, she was 5 pounds when we got her. So we basically had, these 2 little tiny babies, and then Corey actually outpaced her really quickly. And now Corey is my height, and, Mia is very short.
But you're 5'7". You're really tall also.
I'm 5'9".
5'9". Yeah. You're really tall. That's crazy.
Okay. So, the next question, and maybe you go first on this one. It says, did you always plan to homeschool? I know you talked a little bit about this, but, or was it a decision that evolved over time?
So I kind of always had it in my back pocket. So when when you graduate college and you write your like thesis paper or whatever, my paper was on, my degree was in education. So my paper was on homeschooling versus public schooling.
Really?
Like, I wrote it on. So, and I actually had Sydney my senior year of college. So like she was at my graduation as like,
I had Sydney in March and I graduated in August. So I was pregnant, very end of my pregnancy when I was kind of writing this. She actually attended my last couple of classes because I had a few classes after I had her and she came with me. The school was really nice. Anyways, so I kind of always had it in like my back pocket, but I had to kind of convince Jeremy. But he just was like, well, let's try it. That was Jeremy's my husband. Sorry. And so we had some friends in our community that were homeschoolers who kind of had the same background as I did, where they were all kind of brick and mortar teachers and were having kids. And they were like, I don't know if I really want to, we lived in what did we live in? We lived in, we went to the cheap houses. You go to the cheap houses and like the newer communities. So they were newer build communities, but they were like older, like school district communities. You know what I mean? They weren't the best of areas. So anyways, we just started and he's like, sure, let's see what happens. And we never looked back 18, 19 years later.
I love it. I was homeschooled briefly as a kiddo, just for 1 year when I was in third grade. And so my mom, I always like to say my mom was the original Crunchy. Like we shopped at the or the original Crunchy before it was trendy, right? Because now it's really trendy to be crunchy. And so she, like wore the Birkenstocks, which I was so embarrassed about my whole childhood, and now it's all I wear. So she wore the Birkenstocks and she homeschooled us for a little bit. And, she like made our wrapping paper and stamps out of potatoes. And we shopped at the co-op, so it was very crunchy for the time. And so anyways, we homeschooled for a year. And then my stepdad got sick. And so then she went back to, she was just, had to do working full time out of the house. And so we went back to public school. And so it was kind of neat that I got that little bit of a taste of it as a young kiddo. I don't remember a lot about it, other than I cheated on a spelling test. I remember that. My big sister was giving me a spelling test. And I looked at the encyclopedia and said holiday, and that was my word. So
how old were you?
Third grade.
Oh, third grade.
Yeah, third grade. So old enough to know better. But I mean, the book was right there and she was giving the test and I couldn't help but let my eyes wander. Of course, I think I admitted it to my mom, so I didn't get credit for it. But anyway, I was really young when we had Lexi. So I was a senior in high school when we had Lexi. My husband his name is Wes. And so we're high school sweethearts. I've been dating him since I was 15 years old. So we've been together forever. And so as a young mom, it wasn't on my radar yet. I was just, and we did it we had so much family support. It was so amazing, but we moved out and bought a house together, right away. So, we never, I think we lived with we lived with my mom just so briefly, weeks. I don't even think it was a month, before we moved. And so it wasn't, as a young, naive mother, it wasn't on my radar until it was time for her to go to kindergarten. And I just felt such tremendous loss because I wanted to just selfishly spend all this time. I wanted her to myself. I didn't want to share it. I didn't want her to leave. And then she had a really traumatic incident happen with another student the first year of school. And it was serious enough that they made sure those kiddos weren't in a classroom together for first grade, but they wouldn't even call home to parents because an adult didn't witness it. But this kiddo had a pattern. And so that was the first thing that, I thought, well, something's not right. Like we're big supporters of, I love homeschooling, but I'm most passionate about educational choice, whatever's best for your family. But this was the first time that I felt really wronged by the school district and really worried about what was going on. So anyways, long story short, she's in school and I was in graduate school then. Fast forward like a year later, I was in graduate school, going to school for school psychology. And I was in the part of my education where I was actually working in the school buildings. And I saw things that you wouldn't even believe unfolding. And I was like in the, I want to say it was 8th or 9th grade students in that age range. And I saw horrible, horrible things. And it was, I had made a serious commitment to this program. It was a doctoral program working on a doctorate. And I was my world was turned upside down by that experience. And I thought my kiddo's in this environment. Granted, it was a different grade. So anyways, I had been asking my husband to homeschool, and he really was very anti. And when I say anti, I really mean very anti homeschooling. And I prayed every day for a year for him to change his mind about homeschooling. And then our compromise was that we put her in Catholic school. We're not Catholic, but we put her in Catholic school. And at the end of the year, it was summertime, they came back to us, and after test scores were back, and they said, hey, we failed your kids in math. Here's the curriculum we want you to do over the summer. Here's your bill for it. Make sure they're ready for third grade math for every single one of the children in second grade. It wasn't just our daughter. So then at that point, after a year of praying, my husband said, okay, well, I guess if we're already homeschooling over the summer, let's see how it goes. And we've never looked back. And now to meet him, you would be shocked to find out that he's not a supporter. He is the dad that, you know, when I'm home with the baby, he's taking the kids to co-op and all the things. So he is 100% in, and then some. He now works with us at Venture Upward, which we'll talk about another day, the business venture that Courtney and I are in on together and work full time. And so anyways, we're 100% in and have been ever since. But I did have like I said, my oldest went to second grade. And then my next two, the one, Isaiah, is still in public school, but my other son went to preschool for 1 year. And then ever since then, it's just all been homeschooling.
That's so fun. Okay, another fun fact of how many things that we are so similar is I also married my high school sweetheart, and we've been together since we were like 16 or 17. I can't remember when we met. I think we were 17. But it's just so random, all the things that we are so similar on and how many things we are so very different on.
I know. No, it's awesome. I love it.
All right. What is your homeschooling philosophy or educational style?
Yeah. So we are very classical. I mean, we're eclectic in a way because I'll pull in pieces that are not classical, but classical education for us. We participate in classical conversations and have for many, many years, over a decade. And we absolutely love it. And so, yeah, we're classical. That's a short answer.
I am very eclectic. I started out very classical, like that Well-Trained Mind book in the back that you have. Like that's how I started. And then
love that book.
Yeah, I've kind of evolved, and we do some Charlotte Mason. We do some like Well-Educated Heart. We do a very, and I will say, like 7 kids, every kid's been a little bit different. Like each kid needs a little different. So I've never stayed true to like one thing. I also get bored. I'm sorry. I'm very much a like, let's try some, which my daughter that's in her school hated because that was not her style. Like she wanted one thing. But anyway, so I've done the gamut of all the things. I would say if you name a homeschool curriculum, I guarantee I've tried it and I will give you an opinion on it.
I do get bored too. And I also get a little over enthusiastic. So I have a lot of curriculum that I've purchased, and then I've made all the lists and the plans to use it, but then we don't using it. So my husband is now to the point where he's saying that I have to sell some or give away some curriculum before I can bring anything new in. So
we are all, I guarantee if we pulled every person out there, they would all have that same shelf of unused curriculum that we had these good aspirations, or we tried it for 2 weeks and we're like, no.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. No, I love that. And what style would you, because we both do like this morning school, right? You call it something different.
We call it morning time.
And we call it morning.
I call it family school. I call it family school.
Yeah. Sorry. And morning basket. How would you classify that? Is that just more?
What's the style of it?
Yeah.
It's probably more, it pulls in more of like the Well-Educated Heart and like the Charlotte Mason, because that's really where we kind of do any subject that we do together. So like history, we do all together. Science, we sometimes do all together. But it pulls in like our fine arts, and it pulls in like the heart stuff, like the stuff that you don't get in a normal brick and mortar, but we're going to learn about music history, and we're going to learn about composers and Shakespeare and poetry. Like all of those things is really what I keep in my family school.
I love that. We're going to have to do a whole episode just on, I think, our family school and morning basket, because a lot of people ask me about that. So,
well, mine changes every year. It depends. Like last year was survival mode for me. And so we did World Watch and we did history. And that
Nice.
was it. Then we added in like our read aloud, you know,
Mhm.
and a game. Like we did a game while we did our read aloud. So, but it depends. Within some years, I have like I'm ready to put back in the art history and the music and the, you know, all those things. So mine doesn't stay the same every year.
I love it. Mine's very similar every year, but
Of
okay.
course, you do everything the same.
I do. Okay. What do you outsource in your home? What do you outsource in your homes or homeschool?
So this question now is a lot different than say 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, I outsourced nothing. I was the end all be all. I did all. We did all the homeschooling, all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the everything. Now, you know, a lot of years later, as life's changed, I have outsourced cleaning. I have a cleaner come every 2 weeks, even just for, and she doesn't clean my kids' rooms because I was super adamant about I don't want to have these terribly entitled children. So like they're still in charge of that. They still have daily chores, but every 2 weeks, my house gets mopped and the bathrooms get deep cleaned and my bedroom does get cleaned in the office and the laundry, you know, like the spaces that we all live in.
Yeah.
That took me a long time. That's only happened for maybe like a year and a half, maybe. But that was life-changing to outsource that. And now I also outsource some of my, like I do the family school and I plan all the school, but I actually have somebody that comes a couple days a week and makes sure the school happens because I work full time. So she comes and spends a few hours with my kids 3 days a week and just makes sure that they do the language arts, the math, the reading, and gives them the support and help.
I love it. We outsource. So at my home, we've done the house cleaner here and there. We don't right now recently, just because we're looking for a new gal. But we do outsource. Like I've outsourced language lessons. So I really like my kids to be taking language lessons. When I say foreign language lessons, I should say. And so we use OutSchool, have for many years, really have enjoyed it. There are some things, OutSchool's evolving a little bit, so I'd love to find a second option to include or to explore. But we've also done like Mathnasium. Do you guys have Mathnasium in Arizona?
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say that's something we missed. Is I'm in Arizona and you're in Minnesota.
Yes,
that
I'm
would
in
be,
Minnesota.
Yeah, we're very different regions of the world too. So some of the things you'll hear are because of where we live. But yes, there's Mathnasiums, but I've never used them.
So we've done Mathnasium throughout the years. It's my least favorite subject to teach is math and my least consistent subject, but should be my most consistent. So that's been like my main struggle as a homeschooling mom is math. And so we've done Mathnasium and had really good luck with that. And then I guess some would consider classical conversations in some ways outsourcing, in that they have like a lead tutor there once a week that your kids kind of go with. You're on campus too and you go to the classes, but they kind of set up the week of work and then you make sure it gets done at home and work with the kiddos. But I am all for outsourcing for quality resources. And I think we're going to have an episode on that too. I mean, there's a lot of precautions you want to take and things to consider, but it's a great option to outsource things depending on what season of life you're in.
Yeah, I love it. All right, next. What does a typical homeschool day look like for you, for your family? I don't think that's a real thing. Like, is there such a thing as a typical homeschool day?
Yeah, no, and it's a little bit different because we have older kids now. A lot of my kids are really independent workers now. And so even my 10-year-old is really, really independent. And also for the last several years, I've been working full-time from home. And so that has looked really different. But a typical homeschooling, my kiddos, we don't start at the crack of dawn. We are not morning people. And I would much rather go a little bit later than have grumpy kids early. And that's just my family. And then I also like to get some things done before they're up and running. So I would say a typical day for us. Oh, and you know what I forgot to say about outsourcing is that my kids also do venture. Both of our kids have kids that participate in Venture Upward. And that's the company that we both work for and have helped create. And so I don't want to miss that. But a typical day for us is usually me waking up all the kiddos to get up and get moving. We've always been a family that our kids are responsible for their own breakfast. Unless, I mean, there's times where my husband and I will get up early and surprise them with like a big spread or whatever. But that's just been one thing that was always very easy for me is that my kiddos, starting from a very young age, are responsible for putting together their own breakfast. All of my kids know how to cook. Even my 10-year-old she makes things from scratch. So we're very fortunate to have, my husband's an only child. And so his mother dotes on my children and there's no competing, for attention because he's a one and only. And so her and I both have worked with the kids and they're all amazing cooks. So they all make their own breakfast. I just make sure that we have the supplies on hand. And then they get started independently on their different schoolwork. So just make sure that they're all working. They all have what they need. We have a central computer, but we also have some laptops for their schoolwork that's maybe needs to be done on the computer, or a lot of the younger kids, they have to type papers or something like that, but they don't necessarily have to be online. So we have some rules about where they can do school. We have a homeschool room, but a lot of it happens in my office while I'm in meetings, or happens around the kitchen table or the counter. So they get rolling on their schoolwork, and then we I allow a lot of breaks. So they're constantly getting up and out, running outside, moving. We live on a hobby farm, so there might be animal chores worked into there. They have chores they have to complete every day. I'm a big chore person as well. And so trying to avoid that entitlement, and then infusing that good work ethic as well. So they all have chores, and then we don't do TV time except for on Saturday mornings. In the summer, they can have TV time in the evenings. So they're not allowed to have the TV on during daylight hours in the summer. So, but they get a little bit more during the summer and in the evenings, but they also are busy. But yeah, so then we're usually done with school by anywhere from, depending on the kid, noon to 2. I have a son, Maddox, who would get up at 6:00 in the morning so he could be done by 10, and then have the whole day. And so it just depends. If they have jobs, then that's, worked in there too. We have our daughter, Corey, is a mother's helper for a younger family at church that has 3 little kids. So 2 days a week she goes there, and that's part of her education, is that she goes there and she learns from another mom. She learns another mothering style to what she's been raised with, but a very loving, motherly mothering style. And she helps them with cleaning and cooking and childcare and all kinds of things. And it's a volunteer thing that she does. And that's really important to us for her to get that experience. But yeah, they're usually done between, like I said, noon to 2-ish, 1 to 3. I mean, it just kind of depends. And then inevitably at the end of the week, when we're checking how many or how close kids are to being done, I have a few kids who have a couple evenings in there that are working with dad, trying to finish up their schoolwork for the week, because they maybe got a little more off track that week than other weeks. So
I've been at your house at 10 o'clock at night when the kids have been doing that. I've seen it in action. When do you do family school or your morning basket? When do you do that?
Usually, well, it depends on, that's what changes probably most for us, but usually we try to do that first thing in the morning.
Okay.
Yep.
After breakfast. So I wake my kids up at 7:30. They have to be dressed and teeth brushed, and breakfast starts at 8. And we start family school at breakfast. So they are getting breakfast and we're starting our family school. So we do family school from 8 to 9. We start it while they're eating because they can listen and we can start, we can do some things or watch whatever, something on the TV or whatever it is that we're doing. And then 9 to 9:30 is chore time, and that's finished getting ready for your day. So if you haven't made your bed or finished getting ready, if you slept, whatever. So 9:30 is chores for the most part, and finishing getting ready, and then 9:30 school starts, and we do night school 9:30 to noon pretty much. There are sometimes then they have lunch at noon. After lunch, they'll have, as they get older, they have more things. So, you might have, you might not be done reading, or you might still have a paper you have to finish for a co-op or something coming up. But for the most part, we're pretty much done at noon. And then, that's when we have dance and
Ugh.
recording and all the things that we do. We do have a TV that we use. They get a little bit of time, like a set time once they've done all the things that they have to do. But we have you have to do something creative, and you have to, like we have things that you can't just default to that. Like, hey, I'm done at noon, I get to watch TV the rest of the day, kind of thing. We do video games only on Fridays and Saturdays at our house. I have a 12-year-old boy that loves his video games, and my daughter actually, because of her brother, loves it too. Like, they do it together. So I was just tired of saying no all the time, or like having to fight with it. And so it's a Friday and Saturday thing. And then it's just so much easier. So that's kind of it. My high schooler goes to culinary school, and so she gets up and she starts school at 7. She leaves the house at 7:15. So she comes home at 11, and then she does a religious class at the high school, and then she comes back and does her school. So she does school at all kinds of oddball hours whenever she wants to. She's often doing school in the evening. But that's the joy of homeschooling, and being able to do that around their work schedules and all of my kids' work. And so I think that's it. Yeah.
That's awesome. I forgot to mention too, my kids, when they're in high school, have a Bible study or scripture study every morning from 7 to 8. So they do that outside of our house. So they leave for that and then come back. And then I have one son that goes back to bed for a little bit and one son who doesn't. So it just depends. But okay. Our next question is, what do you do to stay motivated on the tough days? How do you stay motivated on the tough days?
Chocolate chip cookies. I am a default baking stress eater person. Like, that's my my default is totally baked goods or chocolate, dark chocolate. And like just a book. But that's my stress. Like, when I am just like, I just can't do it anymore, or I just am tired, like, that's going to be my default, is like a cup of tea and chocolate and a book that I'm just going to sit it on a couch and just leave me alone.
I love it. Well, tell everybody about because I'm just so impressed about your reading, like how many books you're reading a year on average.
Well, I love to read. Like, that is my stress relief. Like, I read every day. It's really important to me. And so I will take, the 10 minutes while water's boiling and read a book, or I'll read while I'm eating lunch or breakfast, or in between the stressful meetings. Like, when I work all day long, I will look, guys, my Kindle's right here. Like, I keep my Kindle on my desk. It stays in my purse. It's little, it fits in my purse. I always have books going. And I always have multiple books, because it depends upon what's going on, that I'm like, hey, I have a nonfiction book that, my goal is to read 10 pages of every day. I have a classic, like something hearty and meaty that I'm reading. And then I always have a fluffy book, just because sometimes when you've had that really tough day, a fluffy book is all you want. And I set a goal to read 100 books a year. I think last year, I can't remember now. I can't remember how many books last year. I don't remember. I set my goal to be 100 this year, but I read more this year than I ever have, because I took off social media, and I took off all the things. Like, I don't really watch TV except on the weekends. Like, with my husband, we'll watch a couple shows, but before bed I read, and I am an adamant 8:30, 9 o'clock when the kids go to bed, I'm done. Like, I don't clean, I don't empty the dishwasher, I don't work. I read. Like, that's what I do till I go to bed. So that's almost an hour every single night. So I think I read 59 books so far this year, which is crazy. That's the most I've ever read. But I've also made it a really big focus of my downtime this year.
I love it. That's awesome. What was I going to say? That we do also do, I said we only do TVs on Saturday mornings, but we also, if we do a family movie night, then that doesn't count. We can do those whenever. We don't do them very often though. Once a month, maybe. We're just so busy with dance and all the things, right? And sports and school. But okay, so I have to ask you really quick, because I've never asked you this. What are the, tell me 1 or 2 shows that you and your husband what do you guys watch?
I don't even want to admit that.
What is it?
I said I don't even want to admit to that. No. I am so TV to me is a super a stress. I'm too tired, or my brain hurts. I don't want to read. That's TV is for me. And so I like sitcoms. Like I like The Big Bang Theory and Friends and Everybody Loves Raymond. Like I'm very much a 20-minute, that's all I want. And I want to laugh and I want something to entertain me. So I mean, we do watch movies and we watch other things, but like if I'm to default, like the end of the day and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to read, we watch. Like right now we're working our way through Big Bang Theory. Like it's stupid. Like I don't even want to admit that I watch it, but it's so entertaining.
I've seen Friends though. We did love Friends when I was little. When I was younger, not little. A young adult. When I was a young adult. But I still love it. I think it's so good. No, I love that. I don't really watch TV much with my husband, just because but we've just gotten so busy. But with my girls, we're working through When Calls the Heart.
Oh my God, like
that series. Yeah. So we like Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, and like the Love Comes Softly series. Like we're big, me and my girls are just really sappy like that. And we like to watch those shows, and they're just good, like wholesome Christian shows. So
I will say during Christmas time, so starting October 31st through December, and then the month of July, because Christmas in July is a holiday in my house, we watch a lot of Christmas movies. Like I watch all the Christmas movies, all the Hallmark movies, that is the only time you will actually find me. Like I'll even in my office when I'm working have it on in the TV just because I love them so much. I know.
So, no, you're not. And it reminds me, and I saw this right after you left my house a couple months ago. I told you, that I gave you those couple things I had been hoarding for you to keep. I'm the worst person to go to the post office. I'm terrible at it. That I have been meaning to send you. I forgot to give you, for literally, Courtney, 2 years, I have had Hallmark movie Christmas socks for you. So I need to give those to you the next time I see you. They're super cute.
I will totally wear them. It's my favorite. I love it.
Now that I know that July is when you also watch them, I might try to get them sent. So we'll see if I can
celebrate Christmas in July. Like we will have Christmas cookies and we will watch the Christmas movies. One year we went and did we gave everybody like $10 and we went to like the local thrift store and everybody had to buy a present and we wrapped them up, and it's so fun. Like I love any reason to celebrate. I love holidays.
I love that. Christmas in July. I love that. I might have to do that for Christmas so much.
I have never put up the tree, but I've threatened it every single year. And if it wasn't so much work, I would totally do it because I think it'd be so fun.
You need to do it this year. It'd be so funny to wake up on July 1st with the Christmas tree.
Oh my God. My husband would die.
Well, if you do it, we want pictures. Okay. So what question are we on?
How do you stay motivated on tough days? We got sidetracked.
Oh, how do I stay motivated on tough days? So I, for many years now, have kept a joy list. And so I keep and maintain and come back to a joy list. And so I have it on my phone now. And so when I'm really happy and I'm in a great mood and things are going well, I'll sit down and update my joy list, like what brings me joy. And then, so when I'm having a really tough day, even sometimes you might not have time to do something from the list, but even just rereading the list for me, like just helps me to feel refreshed. And I'm thinking about, here, I can actually share it with you.
So it's not necessarily a gratitude list. It's like things that you do that bring you joy.
Things that I do that bring me joy. Yep.
Oh, that's such a fun idea.
And so here it is, joy lists. Oh, nope, actually that's my note to update my joy lists. Okay, so what brings me joy? So I'll pick off a couple of things off this list. So this is a list. The last time I updated it was April 20th. Oh no, I'm due to update it. It's April 20th, 2024. So I've referred to it many times since then, but I haven't updated it since then. So I usually update it once a year and then I'll refer to it. Sometimes, it depends on how hard the month is, right? Sometimes you're in there constantly. So some of the things that I really love. So I love thrifting. So that's on there. We live near a place that does where you can actually, it's like a self-guided Amish tour where you actually go onto the farms of the Amish community and you purchase things and you get to talk to them. And it's just brings me, it's so Hallmarky. Like it just brings me so much joy to do it. It's just fun. My kids and I love it. My husband.
I want to do that. Let's put that on the list next time I come visit. Oh my gosh, I want to do that.
Fun. I love it. Christmas is on here. Brings me joy. House projects being worked on and completed. My husband is super handy. I'm so lucky. So we don't hire things out like that very often in our house because he has a degree and an electrician degree, and he's just really just really handy, and can do all those things. Another couple of things. So summer drives or country drives as well. My husband, that's another thing that we do. So if I'm really stressed out, we'll just go on a country drive. We'll stop at a little gas station and get just this totally junky treat, and we'll just drive and talk. When my kids were little, they'd come with us. But now they don't, and that's fine because it's a good time for my husband and myself as well. But yeah, those are some of the things that I do that are on I probably have, I don't know, 30 things on what brings me joy. So
do you find that it changes depending upon your season of life?
Some things. I would say the core of it stays the same, but I'm always adding things. And then I have a second list though, and this is not really on topic as much, but it's the things that rob me of joy. So things that, like that one I just do as a more regulated check-in, like probably every other month, where I'm just checking in and saying, hey, am I maintaining well, keeping these things that rob my joy off of my plate and out of my life.
Like folding,
like what?
Like folding laundry.
Right? Or like not having good, like not having good work-life balance. What is that? But yeah, like things like that, or like comparison, right? Like comparing yourself to other people, just different things like that rob me of joy. And so, yeah, those are some of the things that I do to help me. And like I said, I'm not necessarily doing the things on my joy list. Sometimes I am. I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea. We haven't gone through on a country drive for a really long time. Let's do that. But other times it's just reminiscing and thinking about those things that just help pull me through a tough day.
I love it. I'm totally making one of those lists. I think that's awesome. All right. What's your strategy for keeping younger kids engaged while older ones are learning? Which you're going to have to pull back out of your hat basket now that you have another younger kid. Doesn't necessarily apply, but what did you used to do? Or vice versa? What do you do with to keep your big kids motivated if you're working with your little kids?
Yeah. So this was actually something I always prided myself on being really, really good at. So I have special toys that are only allowed to be played with during big kid school time. And they're really good toys. Like I'm thoughtful about what goes in those bins. And so like it might be that dreaded kinetic sand, right? That's terrible to clean up. It might be, it can't be every good thing, right? Because you want some good things that they can play with just any time. But I also have used that at times with little kids. Like if I have to have an important phone call or something like that, then I can kind of pull out the special toys. But we do, I don't know if this is controversial or not, but we do like blanket training too when the kids are little. So they know that from a very young age, it's very soft and very gentle, but it's more of an emergency thing. So we have some kids that have some special needs and some really severe medical considerations. And so if I have a kiddo that needs emergency management, I need to be able to set down my toddler on a blanket and know that they're not going to leave the blanket. And so that's kind of how it started for us. And it's a very fun thing. Like we do, like I said, we're so gentle about it. We have a very loving mothering style. And it's a very special thing. So we just do, like they get this big, huge blanket and they spread it out and you put all the fun things on there. And if I'm going to be there supervising, right, and it's not an emergency, there'll be snacks and it's kind of fun. They kind of walk the little perimeter of their blanket and it's fun and they can be loud. And I don't require them to be quiet on their blanket. I know some people take it to an extreme, but we don't. You can be as loud as you want and play and sing and jump and swap out toys, and so we do that as well. But really, I just try to set up the environment that there's not going to be, I think you talked about it. I don't remember if it was before this episode or if it's during this episode, you talked about reducing the no, having to say no all the time. So I just try to also create our environment that there's not really a lot that I would have to say no to. So if I'm working with an older kiddo and they want to do something or they're doing something, they can just do it. And I don't have to always be like, oh, no, don't touch that, or we're not going to take that out. But those bins when they were really young were the most helpful, or like water bins, we pull that out, or rice bins. I mean, there's all kinds of things. We'd have these special toys that, like I said, they're just for school time. And so then they'd be really excited. And then also I got a piece of advice when my kids were little from I don't even remember where I got it from, but it talked about how this educational window opens for little kids and they're really excited and they want to be with you and the big kids didn't learn. But if you're not careful, that window can close before it's actually time for them to sit down at the table and do school. So when my kids start showing interest and want to be a part of the learning at the table, then they come to the table and they start learning with us. So it's a very long period where they're kind of doing something differently. And they might be, sitting at the table just cutting, right? They're doing school and they're so proud. And look what I just cut up. But yeah, as soon as I see that window open and they're interested and they want to be with us, then they're with us.
Love it. I did some similar things. So we had baskets and bins and toys that were only for school time. My little kids were on the rotation. So my kids did a school rotation. So they had math with me, and then they had something they did independently, something they would read, whatever, like the rotation. Well, the little kids were part of the rotation. And so when it was their turn, so that was when I'm doing math with one of my olders, then my middle is going to entertain the little kids, and she's going to read them a storybook or do a painting or a craft or take them outside, or that half an hour window was that window for them. So they were getting something like that. I did that for years.
Oh, good.
I always did something. So some version of family school, but we started and the little kids were always included, and it started with them. So we would do the picture books where you're sitting on your lap, or we're playing with Play-Doh at the table, everybody, while we're learning our history lesson. So, and it's amazing what your little kids will pick up. They totally pay attention to the history lesson. It has nothing to do with them when they're 3. They'll come to the dinner table. We always do the dinner, or when my kids were little, we'd come to the table and tell Dad something we learned today. And the 3-year-old would always pipe in with something that they learned, even though they weren't really learning any, you know what I mean? We weren't including them in knowledge, but they were gathering. And again, I also always had, something at the table for them to do. So they were coloring, or they were, playing with the whiteboard markers or the expo books, or their school, they had their school activities, just to keep them included. And I always used kind of the analogy when I explain it is it's everybody's getting on the school bus and everybody gets off at their own spot. So the 3-year-old's done here, they get off at their spot and go do their thing. And then, the kindergartner is going to stay till here. And then the second grader and the third grader, you know what I mean? Because I had such a wide range. Anyway, so yeah, same idea. I also was a baby wearer, or a younger kid wearer. So when my kids were little, up until toddlers, they were just, on me contained. They were just happy to be in the mix and being held. So that was also a huge one.
I love that. Yeah, we're definitely, not with all my kids. I didn't learn about it until probably my 4th kiddo, about baby wearing. So I'm a huge baby wearer now. I love it.
Thanks for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed yourself getting to know us. Come back next week for part 2. Have a great week.